I wanted to talk today about men and masculinity. And I feel like you cannot be a feminist or a women's rights advocate without also honoring masculinity and what men also experience in this world in regards to honoring their polarity. There still is a real lack of room for men to grow and honor and develop their divine masculinity. There's a movement and men are stepping into it, but it is certainly not the same space that women have created for themselves in their efforts to regain their feminine sovereignty in this world. In fact, we're always trying to put labels on men, and the one that comes to mind for me is toxic masculinity. And I have used this language, and I am guilty of it. But until you know better, you can't do better. And I think when we're trying to understand certain things, the human brain, we put labels on things. That way we can categorize them. We can make sense of them in our brain. That's over there. That's what that is. We don't have to think about it anymore because now we've given it a name and we know what that name means. Unfortunately, language like toxic masculinity is very, very shame-based. And when we put labels like that on men, it instantly cuts them off from the opportunity to grow or explore other parts of themselves. It's like, I'm either a good guy or I'm a toxic guy. Where's the room in between? Where is the humanity and the space to grow within that? So we have to change the framework around it. And something that I heard on Mark Grove's podcast or talk, one of the which that he did on this topic in particularly, men and masculinity, he said it should be called masculine immaturity. And I was like, I can get on board with that, because at least immaturity implies space to grow. You can go from immature to mature, and that's all we're ever doing as humans. We're just growing out of our immaturity and evolving and passing on what we know to the next generation. And as much as we have as women all this space to grow and explore all sides of ourselves, we've been able to honor our masculine and our feminine. And I think even more so now we're stepping into our feminine. I think in the Pisces age, we really were ruled in our masculine, and women were fighting to be acknowledged in the workplace and equal rights, and they were doing it like a man because that was the only way that they would earn respect. I have to do it not only as a man but better than a man, because I have to prove that I even have the right to be here. And now I feel like we're really changing the mind frame or mindset around that, and that actually I'm gonna do it like a woman, and that is what makes me powerful. That is what I have to offer. You know, I feel when we look at a partnership too, men stereotypically can fall into more leadership roles, but they'll always look to the women for guidance. We have our gifts, and we need to honor what those are. We need to step into what is true for us. And that is not to say that a woman might not more be dominantly in her masculine, but it's always about polarity. Even when you look at relationships, there's always going to be a masculine and a feminine partner, and that isn't just for heteronormative heterosexual relationships. That also goes for same-sex relationships. You'll have a same-sex partnership, and there will always be one who is more dominantly in their masculine and one who is more dominantly in their feminine. That is because regardless of your sex, we have both energies within us. And when you have a healthy balance of that, you also have a healthy relationship. When you have two people who are both fighting for their masculine or both stepping into their feminine, that is when you're going to face a power struggle. That is when you're going to face a loss of polarity. And those are when things like resentment and other issues are going to start popping up. And that power struggle can also exist within your interpersonal relationship. And I think that's where to come full circle back to men and masculinity, that's where we're still seeing a real struggle here for men's personal development and embracing their sacred masculinity, because you can't fully embrace and honor one without also fully embracing and honoring the other aspects of yourself, like your feminine. And that is where I really want to talk about here. And that is where the real growth, I think, is going to be, and where we're really going to see an evolution throughout the next generations to follow, is where men are given a safe place to explore and honor the divine feminine within themselves. When we saw the dawn of patriarchy, we didn't just see an oppression of suppression of women. We saw that of the feminine energy as a whole. We saw that within men. They weren't able to even explore those parts of them. And that's why, in order to come all the way back to finding the beauty in feminine energy, women had to move through their masculine to break way and create space so that they could step back into their feminine. Except now we also have to help our men and our brothers, our fathers, to find the space within themselves to embrace and honor the feminine and regain polarity within themselves. And I feel like that's when we're really going to see a change in the world. That's when we're going to see a change in how we treat our planet, is when we can find the balance within ourselves. We can recreate that in our world. And what the state of our planet is such a true reflection of the state of what we're going through internally within ourselves, within our psyches, within our spiritual bodies. So the point of me saying all of this is that the feminist movement isn't just for women. It is for men as well. It is for equal rights to honoring all parts of ourselves within all of us, because they exist within all of us. So when we want to step into labeling men as toxic masculinity, let's just step back and take a moment and see it for what it really is, which is the wounded, immature masculine energy that has not been given the opportunity to grow, which has not been given the opportunity to breathe and expand in the ways that women have been fighting for their feminine energy. We need to allow them to explore all these parts of themselves, to cry freely, to honor the freedom to express and to explore, to see what's right for them and what's not. That is the world that we need to move into. That is the space we need to create for each other. So I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on this. So if you have anything to share, to contribute, please add it in the comments below. Share this video if it resonated with you. Much love, you guys. Talk to you soon.